what we're gonna start with, however, is what diversity meant for you in your family. Anyone can welcome to take that.
Ladies first. I'm a gentleman.
Diversity in my family, like, like, I mean, growing up, we always looked at each other the same, but my parents always taught me that everybody's different and ways and just unique.
Tell us about your parents, Anahi, because some people may not understand the diversity that already existed in your family.
So my mom is from Mexico and my dad is from Armenia. So some of the unique Lebanese cultures there. So they
Diversity from first.
literally.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, so we're like a batch of like puppies, you know. There's the dark ones, and the black ones, and the white ones, and the one with blue eyes, and the one with green eyes, and the one without. So diversity is just like massive, but we weren't even self-aware of the diversity in our family because I had cousins that were all different colors, shapes, sizes, all the things. But also I'm Mexican and Puerto Rican. So my holidays were all over the place. Really good food, really good music, but it was also different. And in terms of diversity, I mean, that word can mean so much, but I think that just shows the multi-layer of my experience, my own singular experience of being Mexican and Puerto Rican and what that all encompassed. But also shows the beauty of all of it, is the flavors, the food, the music, the everything, and I'm just like one singular human being. So yeah, in other words, pretty like there's two things that yes.
For me, I'm from Mexico, so I have 7 cities, and I grew up. I was born in Jalisco, but I grew up in Tamaulipas, which is border town with Texas. So I grew up with different traditions, like the Mexican and the like I live in the Mexican side, but then we used to do cross shopping in the American side. Plus, like all of us were like different. Some of us are skinnier, taller. Some of us are really bigger. You know, we'll do different things in the position I work. So I think that's where diversity comes in. That be.
So I was born in New Orleans, but my family's from Medellin, Colombia, but that's my mom right there. When, so in New Orleans, there wasn't a lot of like Latino communities, and I was always shy about speaking Spanish, and my mom would be like, "No le dé pena, habla español." So for me, diversity didn't come until I moved to California in 2005. But you know, we in the household we all spoke Spanish, and we were cultured with the food and the way. But outside of the house, in this New Orleans, like I grew up very Americanized until I got to Los Angeles, and I was forced because I worked in restaurants and bars. There was a lot of Mexican population in the back of the house, so I had to like learn the Spanish, and I think that's where my real diversity started, when I was around different cultures.
What I'm hearing is that diversity took place through skin tone, through language, and oftentimes when expecting that is what, I mean, why do we have DE and I now, right? But there's also socioeconomic diversity. I remember seeing my padrinos flourish and having money, and the narrative that is portrayed across much of Hollywood is not that. And I'd like for you to just touch a little bit. I know some of your stories, whether you grew up in suburbia, moved to suburbia, made it out of wherever, or maybe you never worried about it. Maybe you grew up affluent. I have no idea. Can you tell us a little bit about that socioeconomic diversity, or with your success, how that's shifted for you?
I need something else first. So my dad grew up in LA, and he was born in Armenia, but he here pretty young, and he grew up in LA, graduated high school, and did with college, but he had a successful business that he built here in LA, and then he moved it to Arizona, and that's where he met my mom, and he had a successful business over there. But unfortunately, because I don't know if you guys are aware of SB 1070 that happened in Arizona, he lost his business because that was when a lot of the undocumented immigrants had to leave Arizona, so the economy went really bad. And so that's when our financial issues had started, and it was kind of hard to get out of that because both my parents didn't go to college. And then now me being where I am, like I have a job in college, almost done. I've been able to help them get out of it, and so something that I've been trying to teach even my younger siblings, like to get out of this generational kind of I don't know what you call it, but we've just never been able to like go forward ever since they came. They came from different countries with nothing in their hand. Like my grandparents came from Soviet Armenia with nothing to LA, not speaking English, brought hand here in apartments, the same apartments, and then my mom coming with nothing to Arizona, no English, and we're meeting my dad. So
She didn't speak English. How fascinating. I will get to the rest of it. But let's talk about how that communication happened for you that you done beaters.
So my dad, because
Not that communication. I didn't realize how that happened.
Get the kids out of here.
So because my dad owned a business, he owned a convenience store in Arizona, and so most of his customers were undocumented immigrants. He learned Spanish through them, and here in LA, he grew up with Mexicans, Armenians, a bunch of different people. So he picked up Spanish from his business, and that's kind of how he talked to my mom, and then my mom eventually learned English at Armenian too. So, yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting because like I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican, which I talk to people like to that. I let them know in LA, like, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican Mexican. I go, I'm here or whatever. But it's very common in the Midwest. So my family's originally from right outside Chicago. I say I'm from Chicago, but I'm really from Indiana. But you hear Indiana, you think white people in cornfields. No, not my Indiana. My Indiana was in the hood. So like we were right outside Chicago. It's where all the steel mills are in Gary, Indiana. So everyone from Mexico, everyone from Puerto Rico, those are where the jobs were back in the day. So my grandparents all went there to work, and they had their communication. And now I'm here, the Mexican, Puerto Rican, and all that. But with that said, it's just in terms of the socioeconomic of it all, it's interesting to be like, I'm from Indiana, but Northwest Indiana is the most diverse, and it's like the least funded, which is interesting in the entire state of Indiana. But it's where all the blacks and Puerto Ricans and Mexicans are, and we all, the Latinos stuck together. If you're a Mexican and Puerto Rican, you're just Latinos, like Latinos and blacks and all that. But I was talking about this in the last panel. I lived like the Fresh Prince life, where I got in one little fight. My mom got scared and I moved to a nice neighborhood. But I was skateboarding and a guy punched me in the face over an iPod. Cops came. My mom's like, "Oh my God, we're going to like where the white people are." So I moved to the cornfields later on in high school, and that was an entirely different shift, being in a suburb and coming from the hood and all that. So it was really interesting just to see how. Now it's like a 25-minute drive, those two different schools, those two different communities, and the different opportunities that were a part of it. But all that to say is like, there's so much migration and storytelling behind that migration, and where I am even at now. I'm living in Mexico City. So like we do this like full circle of our community based on generation and discovery and storytelling. But it's pretty beautiful just to hear like all of our stories of like how our grandparents sacrificed and made moves for us. And it's something to think about with yourselves of how can I move at a space that honors my past, but also moves us to the future. So something to consider with that. So I'm trying to get my Spanish better, get my dating better than that stuff. So I'm trying to bring it full circle.
And interesting you say that because I lived in Asia for 11 years. And every time it was, do I renew a contract, I would go back to my grandfather who was 60 when he moved to this country with no English. And I thought, man, if I have any issue with the whole like, like you got a master's degree, you can speak English, you speak Chinese, like what is your problem? And I'd be like, oh, go get that. Okay, I'll stay another year. But it is that, right? Those are those cycles that of progression where we have these choices now. But
For me, it's coming from broken home. My dad was an alcoholic, 6 kids. getting lost throughout like um, so he will be gone for months again with the mom. But so my mom has she has to work to provide for us, so we kind of like grew up on our own, very limited to live when I get to meet a family, like cousins, and everyone. The the only the only here is like so no like well the resources. So it was very and I was so not traumatic, but I was like I couldn't and I wasn't able to like feel that or feel that connection with them as a family because they would have very different lifestyles to it fun. But also with that I was like learn to like be able to like work and be proud from when coming from like my mom did so much that like the last thing we had it we prayed to continue someone what she did. So now that I'm here, all my family is in my family to in two listeners. I can tell that doesn't matter the money that they have, but I would and that I don't have, but I get to do what I love, and that gives me the most satisfaction, you know.
Sácalo, Juan, estás en familia, estás en familia.
Ya, es como vivo día por día y ver que que mi familia, porque otra parte de mi familia tiene carreras y tiene recursos más que los míos, es que no nacen menos, porque ahora viven en Waffles Casa. Gracias a really I get to do things that I love. I get to create content. I get to work with brands. I get to work with not just that are celebrities, but with people that I admire. That I feel like I'm in the same level, no matter my education or where I come from. You know.
Absolutely. But I think if anything, not our parents' generation, I mean, even maybe my generation really still struggles with it, but this new generation, like, don't have to, if you want to go to college, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. I mean, you've got 11-year-olds making like, 25K a month, and like, man, you want to like get me some? So all these cuts. Because at the end of the day, once we leave this planet, what do we take with us? Regrets or we're gonna get into what? Yeah, you said it. That's the vida chingona. Daddy?
So my family, my dad left Colombia in the I want to say, the 80s, well. So it's kind of like when it was really bad in Medellin, and he left when he was 16 because he wanted a better life. And then he brought my mom up. And I think that we moved around a lot. I don't know what it is, a Latino thing. We just like, 1 year here, the other year there. And, thinking back now, I see that my dad was gone where the work was. But it was hard for us. I thought like, man, we're so poor. We can't stay in this place longer than a year, So I think I learned a lot of work ethic because my dad was always working and trying to provide for the family. And, there was times when we did struggle and stuff like that. And we lived in the barrio. I lived in the hood in New Orleans. Like I was Spanish, but I was the white guy. So I learned a lot of different cultures and different, socioeconomic levels and values of people. But the one thing that I didn't learn was how to save money. I don't know, is that a Latino growing up? But so now with all those lessons that I learned, it was hard because I had to learn how to save money, especially living in LA, not spending all my money on clothes. And this is all Amazon right here. Like they say, I find good deals.
Yes.
But I learned that from my mom. Like she knows how to get things that are nice, but not have to spend a lot. So,
Absolutely. Shopping. As I was listening to everyone, I was reminded once again that we do not have one story. And yet Hollywood, articles, social media will even have us believe that there is one story. There's only one kind of Latino. And I honor all of you for even me out here for going out into the world as yourselves. I think one of the amazing things about our community is that we are so rich and diverse in how we come to be. How would you tell others to go out and be bold? I feel like if you're bold for who you are, whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, creating content, but how do you motivate others to be equally bold, to share their stories, to be themselves?
I think that's something that I learned later in life because of my accident. I was injured in 2016 in a mountain biking accident. And I thought my life was over. And what I didn't realize is that all the struggle and all the pain and all that stuff that I went through turned into my superpower and my story, and it gave some flavor to my life as an actor. Because we can tell when an actor hasn't lived life. You can tell from the emotion in the eyes and just what they bring to the table. So, for young people, the struggle that you're going through, when you grow up, that's gonna be your sazon, your tabasco, your cholula, whatever you put on life. So know that when it's hard, that it's gonna get better, and that's gonna be something that it puts you apart from the group. So never forget where you came from, and never forget the lessons and the stuff that you've been through.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah,
For me, it's like going back to the thing that I was going back to the resources, but that put me that mentality that if I don't have anyone in, what can I do to make things happen? So now with social media and then reading the content creation world, it's like if I'm not getting like certain type of opportunity, now in my mind is like what my mom will do. Not because she didn't have anything, but she'll find her way. So that's how I go now. Like, okay, and we have this collaboration, guys. How can I still work with this brand? So I learned to start not being and presenting myself. You know what? This is me. This is who I am. But also, it took me a little bit of time because before I was the concept, I was kind of ashamed of my attitude, and now it's just like, no, I just have to be boy, and this is who I am. I don't have to hide, and then just present yourself, and then you always start taking effect. I'm myself. It's because if you're not being real through your content, people are gonna see it, and then that's what I do now. And then if there's someone that I want to work with, I reach out to them. Yeah, they might hear from me. I might hear from them or might not, but usually I always have been saying somehow they find their way, and then I get to work. It was done fast days. Thank you.
Like the accent, and it's like,
Hell yeah, I was trying to.
I have to fake it.
Well, no, it's interesting to talk about authenticity because I've been posting about the event and I got a text message. You're cheesing so hard. I'm like, because I'm happy. Because I'm literally happy that I get to see these people that I've admired for so long. I mean, so authenticity is real. That energy, we transmit it. When we're sad, when something's hurting, like we see it, right? And so, yeah, absolutely. Yes, authenticity.
All that authenticity. I mean, massive advocate on all things like bringing all of us up. Like, I came from the social media world, digital media world. I worked at BuzzFeed, made digital content creation. It's like everything I make is in some capacity advocating for everyone else to like do better, do something. Like, I worked at BuzzFeed and I was like a dorky filmmaker guy. Like, I didn't want to be on camera, and I was getting followers though. And my buddy was like, dude, you have a platform. Like, it's not about you. Like, not a lot of people that look like you that have this platform. What are you going to do with it? And so I just started like making things that are very authentic to me in terms of mental health and personal development and like my own mental health struggles, and as a man of color going through that and just like talking about it. And but at the end of the day, I'm a big advocate of never in human history have we had something in our pockets that it didn't matter how much money you had, what color you are, where you came from, that you could literally tell your story, launch a business, shoot a DM to somebody, and literally get something going. Like that's access that all of you people have, no matter how old you are, how young you are, whatever. You could literally make something today, DM someone that you look up to that's slightly further ahead from you and say, hey, I would love to hear your story. What do you think about this? Never was that even possible in past generations. So that's what's so exciting, is that it could happen literally overnight. So just think of something that you love or enjoy, because everyone is making content around everything. If you're a lawyer, if you're a dentist, if you're a firefighter, like literally anything you want, you could shoot a DM to someone and say, how do you do it? And wondering if you could help me in the process. Like I'm training, I want to do a jiu-jitsu tournament. I just found a dude who won a jiu-jitsu tournament on YouTube. He's a real estate agent in LA. I was like, hey dude, you want to like train? Like, yeah, come sit down. Like that's the power of just shooting DMs and talking to people. So like, I'm a huge advocate in this digital space. Like never have we had this before. And the beauty of being Latino is that we have this drive. Like we all know someone that sacrificed so much so we could be here. So that's our superpower, because I'm bringing that hustle with me, and all you guys have that too. So like I just nerd out with like social media stuff and how exciting all this is. So it's like, yeah, so go make something, go DM somebody, go with your parents' permission. So
I was gonna say, because all I heard was like stranger danger, what?
well, obviously, yeah. I mean, yeah, don't send any like social security numbers or credit cards or anything. Yeah.
I'm going to a point that Hector had brought up on, opportunities. Me, when I was starting social media creation, I started because I was sharing about a war that happened in Armenia. I saw how much movement the BLM movement got on social media, how much attention it got, and people, sharing GoFundMes, people sharing all these posts. So I was like, oh, maybe I can do the same for Armenia. And so that's how I started. And then people started asking me questions like, oh, your mom is from Mexico, your dad's from Armenia, like, how is that? So that's how I started making videos. And when I first started, I was being reached out to by brands, by managers, and the one thing that they told me was that I need to stop on sharing my cultures and stop on sharing different political issues. Because I do talk about different issues like immigration and different, issues that do affect our community. Because I have this platform, I feel like it's so important that we do that. So that kind of made me want to stop, because I'm like, I'm not getting all these cool opportunities other people are getting. These people are meeting all these stars and they're getting all these cool brands to work with them. And people were telling me, oh, you're not Mexican enough, stick to your Armenian side, or you're not Armenian, stick to your Mexican side. So it was like a constant, attack on me because of who I am. And so for a moment, I, wanted to quit. But then I took a step back and I realized all the messages I was getting from people were like, oh, I'm Mexican and Asian, that's so cool that you're mixed too, because I get the same thing. Or I'm also Mexican and Armenian, that's so cool. I never thought I would meet people like that. And so then that kind of inspired me to keep going. And, luckily I kept going, kept doing my own thing. I got into college, into studying social media and learning more about how the social media world works. And now I created the own opportunities for myself. Like you said, you go out there and you get the opportunities yourself. You reach out to the brands, you email the brands, because what a lot of people don't tell you is that, it's a manager basically has to do for you. We just reach out for you so you can, do it yourself. You just find their emails, send them a DM. I've met people that singers and I thought, my whole life, oh God, they're a great singer, and now I'm filming content with them, making videos with them, and I still get to share who I am, my identity being Mexican and Armenian, and so, yeah.
Because that's a fantastic segue. We talked about the beauty in our diversity, but you touched upon some of the things that the outside world would like to stifle, right? Who we are. And the rest of you share some obstacles that you come across as other people's idea of diversity, lack of, or kind of stifle you.
Oh, when I first got to LA, I'm not gonna age myself and tell you when I got here, but you see how I talk. So I would go into Spanish castings, they get a Latino 20s, whatever, and I get the copy in Spanish, and I would go in there and they're like, oh, you sound too white, you're too gringo. And then I would go into a different casting, they'd be like, you have too much of an accent. And I'm like, which is it? Which is, you know? And then as the industry grew, like they didn't want people with accents anymore. They wanted like a neutral tone, like I talk, and they wanted like a certain look or way of being. So, and I'm speaking for the acting industry. Like they don't know what they want until you show it to them. And then I had an accident, and now I'm a disabled Latino actor, so I'm like way down, you know. And I had to show them like I'm talented. I had to really bring my craft to the game, because if you like, they'll know pretenders, they know fakers, but then like, when I hear your accent, before that was limiting. Now it's like, because of like Sofia Vergara and all that, it's like, oh my God, they're so so fancy, they're so exotic. And I think that goes back to what we were saying about like what makes us unique. Like we have to use those things and not hide them. And like I used to be ashamed of speaking Spanish. You know what I mean? So on my resume, on the special skill, it says Spanglish, because you know what you're gonna get. I'm not gonna pretend I know perfect English, perfect Spanish. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm gonna give you a perfect paisa accent when I speak Spanish. This is what you're gonna get, and if you don't like it, then go on to someone else. It's not for me. But yeah, I just try to be, and I still learn this every day. Just be myself, because that's what people want to speak.
And
I don't even know if I answered that question.
Yeah, I'll speak of my time like working on Pero Like, which is like BuzzFeed's Latino brand, where we like internet videos around identity, inclusion, and things like that. Yeah, I like working for the internet is great. Love it. Everyone gets to see you. Everyone gets to say how cool you are. But also, it can be really hard because everyone also says how you are inadequate in every possible way. So me joining the team, I joined later on, and what was really dominating the channel was, Jolisa and Gadiel, the Dominicans, just like killing it with the comedy, because it was so authentic, it was so Spanish, it was like just speaking Spanish, it was so Latino. And then I come in like, hey everyone, what's going on? Like how I talk. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And like, what should have been or whatever. So I felt inadequate even joining the team when I first started, because I didn't feel Latino enough, and I had to go on my mental health journey, and a part of that was accepting who I was in my story and who I am. And so I was like, my goal is not to be like Gadiel or Julissa or any of these other creators. My goal is to share my story. And I shared my insecurities. I shared my inadequacies. I shared all of it. And those videos did amazing. Because in those comments, people were saying, oh my God, that's me too. Oh my God, that's me too. I literally made a video. It was like, everyone get on camera and say what would get your Latino card revoked. And everyone just had to have these deep confessions. Oh, I don't like cafecito. I don't like frijoles. I don't like avocado. I don't like, and I was like, what? So the message and story was like, we all have these things that could easily judge each other. And then there you go. So the confidence would be all there. So I got to receive the negative end of it, of like, you're not enough-ism, but also the positive end of it was like, oh my God, that's me too. But I think that says so much about the individual and their capacity and maybe something that they're working through. And that's what I had to learn in terms of regulating my own nervous system and knowing that I was not. So if you guys deal with any adversity, it's really just the person's capacity, because it really takes a lot of energy to go out and literally comment and type like, you suck, you're not enough for this or that. I'm like, there's time for that. Like, really? So the haters are a blessing at the end of the day. If you guys get any haters, it's literally like a mark of achievement. Have you seen Cardi B's comment section? It's nuts. So like, that's how you know you're like crushing it. Because if people are talking some mess, you're invoking an emotional response. So you guys get any haters?
on here.
Also, don't read the comments.
Yeah, I'm not reading comments and it's like, I don't do for work. You don't have to read it.
I remember my first commercial, I went to the Target commercial, and I went on YouTube and it came out. And I was like, that's me! And the amount of hate that I got, like, it was curse worded, so I'm not gonna, but I was like, oh, never again. I'll never like read the comments in this, because people are brutal. They just want to take you down. They don't like seeing people happy, like you were saying, you know?
Oh, like, yes, it's the crabs in the barrel. Rafa talked about this last night, how other communities can uplift each other. I mean, you see it all the time in the Jewish community, the Black American community, and yet somehow Latinos real crabs in the barrel. I don't put that. Don't put that. Like, no, me first. And I think that's the whole point of Revolución, right? This is why media exists, because we can be all those things and we can be all the things together. Look, all of this beauty can coexist. Because Danny is successful on Amsterdam doesn't mean Eli can't become the character on the Amsterdam, and he can't come in, or Hector can't come in. That we can all be a freaking Nuevo Amsterdam, you know? But for some reason, our community still struggles, and it's a great, thank you, because that's a perfect segue. One of the things that, like, we haven't talked about is that diversity within our own community, the cultural diversity, right? And if you're in New Orleans as a Colombiano, right, you're at the border as a Latino, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Armenian, Guatemalan, Ecuadorian, like, what does that mean? What is it? How do I feel about Colombia? I don't know. I've never been a Colombian. I feel like that's how we act sometimes. I don't know. People that talk to that, like, I'm moving to LA. I hear a lot of people who are not Mexican, not from LA, moved to LA, and all of a sudden it's like Mexican culture galore, right? Or moving to the East Coast and it's like super Caribbean. Then we can talk to anything about that, the diversity, cultural diversity within our own community.
Yeah. When I got to LA, everybody's Mexican, right? If you're brown skin, you're automatically. But I think that was because there was in media, especially, like we absorb what we see on TV, and like every character that they portrayed was a Mexican, was either like a gangster or like, you know, right? Right.
On Betty Town.
And I'm like, I can't blink. Do you see me? I just did an audition. I had to get I put on all these fake tattoos. And like, it was crazy, but I didn't care. Thought it was good. But you know, one thing that I have noticed that the Latino industry, the entertainment industry, there's this thing about disability. I don't know what it is. It's like a stigma. I've never gone out for like a Spanish show or a Spanish commercial. And if you think about it, do you ever see someone in a wheelchair, like with a disability on a Spanish commercial? Like, please try to find it. Just let me know. I don't know what it is. It's like, even when I became disabled, I was ashamed of, I was like embarrassed to be in a wheelchair. And it's like, people's, I don't know, the way they can get treated. It's like, oh, it's going to be okay, pobrecito. I'm like, dude, you know all the stuff that I can do? So, and that comes from media, because we don't see it normally. We don't see people with disabilities thriving. We don't see Latinos thriving in all the different cultures. It's getting better now because of, you know, the music, especially music has opened the world up to like, man, Latinos, and they just have this beautiful, enormous culture of different countries. So I think that if we normalize it in media, it'll become more normalized in our lives, and it'll be easier to accept.
We gotta get to a wheelchair poppy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, wheelchair poppy hanging together. I can see it already. Not together. Like, okay, laughing.
When we've met, yeah, there's a few pictures of us, but I'm gonna tell him he's the one.
It's like, Tony. You go on. Cultural diversity.
I forgot what the question was.
No, it's about cultural diversity within our own community. Because oftentimes, you know, we talk about others respecting our community or understanding our diversity, but if it doesn't start at home, how can we ask others to do it? And I feel like in a room full of Latinos that are diverse, like that's what we get to talk about.
I mean, I guess these comments, like, I always get Latinos telling me I'm not, you know, Latina because of my skin color, which is surprising because, you know, we obviously, like, colorism exists in Mexico, and, like, everyone on TV looks like me, like, white skin with green eyes, but yet people in my comments still tell me that I'm not Mexican enough because I have green eyes, and I'm like, go to Jalisco, like, you literally see people that have blue eyes, you know, light skin, like, white. I got my green eyes actually from my Mexican side of my family in Oaxaca. Like, they have blue eyes, so that's where it came from. So people always try to tell me, like, just because of the way I look, I'm not Latino enough. And also because my Spanish is not perfect as an American. And so I feel like instead of breaking each other down, we uplift each other. Like, then you encourage people, hey, you don't know Spanish, like practice it, it's okay, like you'll get better and yeah.
It's so true. I was just in Mexico City for the first time, never been to Mexico, and right, there's such a diverse of people on the way to luck, right?
And in my own family, like my grandma, she has 7 siblings, and I swear, like I was saying, it's like a makeup palette, like a nude makeup palette, and they all have different like hair textures. So it's super interesting to see how diverse like Mexico is, and I mean not only Mexico, but like all Latinos, we do all come in different shades, and we should embrace the diversity and stop turning each other down if you do it.
What's like Eli said, right? The puppy letter. Right?
Yeah.
We have a cousin named Mono in Medellin, blonde hair, blue eyes. She's like, where did you come from? Really? Right?
I also wanted to touch on inclusion with the LGBTQ community, right? So what happens with being Latino and LGBTQ on the English side, on the Spanish side, on the media side, and can you talk to us a little bit about that? Okay, so I find it? No? Okay. So the inclusion for the LGBTQ becomes oftentimes some people think it's like there's more freedom, let's say on the American or in an English speaking society versus a Spanish speaking society. Can you speak a little bit about the diversity that you've seen or how it's changed over the years?
It's changing a lot of things. I see it changed here in LA or California, but I live previously in Trinidad. I opened a restaurant, I bought a restaurant there, and I feel like I went back into like we can pay for the small town for the still not accepted. And I can try it still because when I go back, oh, it's like Merton's aircraft. I pull up what and you start on the ends, one of that. So like coming back to LA, we just session it is in the home and how the rock is like about the same. I feel like everybody's appreciate for the way you're for my judgment. I mean, there's still people here who like to see how like what it's started. We're in. Well, thank you so much.
And I want to open the floor to questions, whether it's sharing your story or asking about diversity or how it's affected. I'd love to open the floor for any questions, comments.
You guys speak totally different. Well, one don't.
See how it feels.
That's how you like. You should chance.
That's good. I just wanted to know if you guys can get any advice like on confident speaking. It's with no
So that.
Sorry, what are you just saying? Are you? From you? Are you not?
See something that's going
No, I'm a public figure though. Well, one thing is authenticity. Okay. No, absolutely. And well, one, you have your story. Spend time with yourself to know what your stories are. Embody your stories. And then tell your stories authentically. A lot of times we've been told growing up, no llores. You don't even know how hard it was. Like, you got it easy. You know, we're the ones who had the immigrant. We were the ones who were undocumented. And it's like this comparison of issues. But your story is your story. Whether you were in a white neighborhood or whether you were the hood or whether you have people, whatever the heck the thing is, it's your story. And if at some point in time, like you felt it, it was sad, it was that you get to share that. When you recall that one moment in time when your heart was broken, like you gotta shed a tear, right? If you guys on my screen, but put some emotion into it. When we get really, really nervous, sometimes we go very monotone. But it's okay. Well, stereotypically, right? We're fiery, we're passionate. If that's what's happening, then tell it. Like, oh my God, yes, I was choosing because you don't even know I met yesterday. Oh my God. That's fine. You have an accent, use your accent. The one thing that I think will trip people up is being in your head. And when you're ahead, you're trying to think. That's when the, yeah, and then you will, like, it did, because you're thinking about other people. Your stories, they're yours, you've gone through them, but they're not for you. Once you start sharing your story, they're really for other people. Because other people are going to figure out that they too can be bicultural, that they too can be Afro-Latino and not speak Spanish, that they too can be LGBT, that they too can be disabled, and act, and create, and be a filmmaker, and talk about immigration or whatnot. It's all you. It's your voice. And it can be a really quiet one, it can be a really loud one, or it can be intense, and it can be all of that, depending on what you want to convey.
Yes. Don't forget to breathe. Like there's actually like I took an acting class. There's actually different breathing techniques that can settle you or can get you energized. So learning those things, and don't like drink a lot of caffeine like I did on the way to work. Because all the extra energy, you just like jittery, right? Yeah.
When you're supposed to be in coma.
And then use, like you said, use that energy if you're feeling that, like let it out.
Yes.
But also it depends on like what you speak. Not like right now. Yesterday I was trying to like you were like this to let you know what are you talking about over the wash the name. It's like, you know what, I was stressing so much, and it's my first league ever. You watch me the wine's test for it, no? And just go for it, you know it says that wine is so he's be able to figure yourself.
Yeah.
It's okay, I didn't know I was gonna ask that. Oh,
That's something.
Well, I like the best piece of advice I got was like stop being selfish. Like the number one thing that is wrecking you is saying, what if I look stupid? What if I mess up a word? What if I look dumb? What if I fall? What if it's you? It's not about you. You got X amount of time to give as much value to these people as much as humanly possible. That's it. Like, and once you not make it about you and make it about all of them, it makes it 10 times easier. So like, I was able to do like the TEDx talk, this book at South by, I've done like different speaking things. And that number one thing has helped me even when I'm nervous. Like, even if I mess up, even if you call out the mess ups, it's like, and even as a personal wellness coach, that like people connect with the imperfections. I can't connect with you if you're perfect. I connect with the imperfections. So it makes it so much easier. But again, like I thought I had to be this like Jay Shetty yogi. This is what we're doing today. Like, no, it sounds like good. I talk like this, you know. I'm like, I get excited and things. So once you start owning it and knowing that's enough, and just know your job is just to give as much. That's it. That's all you have to do. And just be excited and be comfortable. But that's fine. Just well.
My main thing is just be you, be who you are. Like, you know, I was saying, yesterday I actually talked to him. It's like, I'm so nervous, and he gave you a smile.
but
Say no to speech. But it's true, like, it works. Like, I need to stop thinking about myself and stop worrying about what people are going to say about me, because at the end of the day, you know, I want to inspire you guys out, and I'm telling my story. So, and, you know, just being myself, and I kind of just looked at this as like a regular conversation with, you know, friends, other people, and so yeah, I'll see you.
Super. I got a question in the back. Is Brianna?
Yes, I love that, you know. I think that you guys all share your story, and this something that you guys share in common with adversity, but not letting that stop you. And I think that's like very common, whether even entertainment aside. So it's like, I want to be a doctor, but you know, I can choose it, so I'm not gonna do it. What's that spark or that fire inside you that needs making it go like you don't? Like even you're like, I'm a go. What do we got? Like what is that?
well, being I was documented for us. I was like, I always have that space that in the I can do this because I don't have babies and common business. And I realized I didn't have babies until I have the Edison. And then now that I finally got it, I'm then like, okay, before I had that excuse, now what's my excuse? Also, my mom asking, she's like, I lost my, she was my best friend. And she's like, okay, the worst thing that could ever happen to me happened already. So that's what I keep thinking over.
I love what you said there. It's what I learned is like the hardest days of your lives are like the best days of your lives. Like that's when you know who you are. Like I didn't realize who I was until I was like 17 and my sister got like cancer. She was only 7 years old. She had a 30% chance to live. My mom had to quit her job, go to a children's hospital with her. We were like super great taking donations. My dad was working like overtime all night, and I was like training for like wrestling. It was like really difficult. And I remember my mom hugging me before she went to children's hospital, and she was just take care of them. I have like an army of Mexican siblings, so it's like 7 of them. So it's like take care of them, Eli. And something in me just like, all right, we're done. And like through that whole experience, I realized who I was in that moment at 17 years old, because that's your character when it shines. And my sister beat cancer. She's 21. She's Spicy Stage. She's a dog. She's doing great. We got to go to Disney. Disney was free. Sweet, by the way. No, so that experience also taught me that life is precious. Like sometimes you need to deal with those hardships to really know what it means that life is precious. So once I went off to college, I was going all out. So it's like, it's not so much that like everything I do is I get to do it. Like that's the gratitude of it. So it's like I get to fail, I get to experience, I get to discover who I am, I get to. So just shifting that have to I get just makes life a lot more beautiful and a lot more substantial, because some people don't have that opportunity. So that is kind of what it is, but you need those hard ones to kind of know who you are. So that is the content. So the hardest things, that.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. The hardest days are your best days, but you don't know it in the moment. In the moment, you're like, this is miserable. Like, how am I going to get through this? But when you get through that, later on in life, you're going to look at that and be like, I went through that, and it was over. Like, I went through it, I dealt with it, and one thing you have to remember is that adversity builds armor. When you go after adversity and you fight adversity and you do the things that scare you, on the other side, you level up every time. And things get less scary. But you always have to face your fears. I mean, it's cliche, like, and then failing, you have to fail to get better. And like for the young people, like it's like a video game. You're on your quest looking for the armor to get to the next level. So adversity is a good thing. If there comes a time where you're like, everything is easy, then you've either like done everything in the world or you've given up. You have to continue. And, for me, like I went through, luckily I have a family, but I lost my ability to walk, and I had a spinal cord injury later in life. And like, it was such a drastic change in my life. I felt invisible. People literally like treated me like I wasn't there, or just tried to help too much and just really messed me up. And it took me. You have to want to make a change, and no one else is going to help you. It's a lonely road. Like I remember one day I was just like, I gotta stop this. I need to change. So I started listening to motivational speeches, and honestly, these things work. Like I would put it on the YouTube compilations, where they're like, you have to get up, you have to fight, you gotta take charge today. And I was like, yes, we're doing this, we're doing it. And like every day, literally like, I like rewired my brain on the way that I was thinking. And I still go through hard days. This is not easy to live with. But this also gives me the power, because I'm like, I know what I went through. I almost died. I was on a mountain. I had to get airlifted out of there. But sometimes I have to look back and like remember, like, Danny, you went through this. You beat that. This is nothing. Even though public speaking does like terrify me still, but it's like it's my opportunity to help you. If anyone is struggling with something, like know that there on the other side there's greener pasture. There's a better life. So just keep going. Never give up. Never give up.
just like everyone mentioned about the hardships and raising that as a kind of a push to get you to keep going. That's kind of what I use, but I also don't let it define me. Like when I did go through what I went through, my family did struggle, but that's not what we are. I want a better future for future generations. So that's kind of what is in the back of my head. Like, okay, yeah, maybe, there may be something where, oh, I don't want to do this. And, like other people are getting all these opportunities, why not me? But that just kind of makes me want to just keep going more and more because, so the future generations don't, we can break that cycle of just falling behind and instead moving forward.
Any other questions, comments, relatability? Adelante.
We're
Build the microphone.
very just about that.
You can take front row.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm Pete Gomez. I'm a psychologist. For many years, for 25 years, I've been with the National Hispanic Media Coalition with Alex and Alex in the current community.
Oh, thank you.
I was going to say, we were always worried. We're always worried about the image that we never see ourselves. And why is it that we want to see ourselves? Because it was very understanding to our families. So I was going to ask, what are the books? Who do you go to? Or do you promote yourself so that you can tell your story? I've got so many stories that I've heard. I've written 2 books already. One is going to be published next year. And where do you look to get your books? I think that's important because we all have this richness. We want to tell this story. How do we get it out there? This has been the quest of your National Hispanic Media Coalition all the time. How we can help you guys. So tell your story about that.
You need to get on stage with us, I guess.
That's an added level of diversity.
I guess I'll start. I applaud the people who are good at social media, and like I came from a generation we never had that. We didn't have cell phones. I'm a little bit older, and like I still fight it.
That they ever touch my day.
Hey.
What are you talking about?
And moisturizer and tequila. Yeah, mix it up. No. Events like this, if you see someone that's doing great, like try to promote them in your business or in media. If you're a casting director, if you're a writer, if you're a creator, you want to lift the voices up that you respect, like you're saying, like how do people get shown and seen? And right now, social media is one of the best places where you could do all of that for free. And I had to really like take my own words and use them because I fight with social media. It's inevitable, but it's part of life. And if you want to tell your story and you don't think you have a platform, the platform is right there in your phone. It's right there in your hands. So, I mean, there's many ways to tell your story and to share with the world. You just kind of got to be brave and like take that next step or role or whatever you do. And they don't have it, but speak more on social media because you guys are like the bosses. Imagine it works.
I mean,
I'm anxious at pro. That's it. And I still don't have TikTok. That's the one thing.
for me, it was like I mentioned earlier with the managers, how a lot of the managers just wanted you to start, kind of going into the culture content, sticking with the more basic stuff, like I could just do makeup or just do fashion, just do this. And to me, I'm like, but that's not, how can you relate to that? How is, we all have different fashion, we all have different makeup, and so that's kind of the route I took. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna share, the way I do my hair, being Mexican or Armenian, incorporating that. And that's kind of why I went into the major that I'm going into right now in college, because we don't have there's no marketing agency out there that really represents Latinos, that wants to work with Latinos, that did, Latino brands working with them, because all the brands that are working with Latinos, you'll see, there are some amazing Latinos who do get the opportunity to work with brands, but there's not really it's not a lot. And you see the big social media stars, and they're all white, they're not Latinos. There's not a lot of people up there that are representing us, but slowly, hopefully there will be, and that's why I want to get out there and do that myself and make that space for like most things.
Yeah, what I mean, I think if you're going to keep yourself out there, I mean, look at the best platform that's engaging, and yeah, it's TikTok. That's currently what it is, and will probably be something else in the future, and adapt to it as well. But it's like how it's like each like social media app has its own way of storytelling, but it's all still storytelling. Like at the end of the day, I think we get wrapped up in like how screenwriting's not like making a TikTok. It is. It's just like you're just thinking the singular human experience that's relatable. So like if I give you like this is one of your ex-boyfriend immediately started dating someone else. Oof, that's me. I'm gonna listen to that. But you can make a movie on that singular thing too that's like 90 minutes long, or I can make a 90-second video that hits on that same emotional pull that is equal to that. It's still like a human experience. It's still human connection. It's just which form currently is dominating that expression. And to just find your niche in that, like find that angle of that human response that is real to you. Like you should be making things that you've already done in life, that you've already lived. But there's people all the time that like put skits on social and they end up getting like a writing gig on a show or something, like whatever. Like that's there. But I always tell people, because they use social as like a lottery machine, like, okay, this post I'm gonna be like a viral star, and it doesn't work out. No, I'm not gonna do it. It's like you gotta do social for like 2 years. So you gotta do it like every day. And so you better like what you're doing. And then you figure out your voice, and then you figure it out. And then those people don't want to do that work. But that's what I'm saying is so exciting for everyone, is you could literally start doing something today, you keep churning and burning and figure out your voice, and we'll figure it out eventually. And that's what makes this era so much exciting than all the others. But I would say, yeah, you just gotta find that route. And there's so much information out there to figure it out. It's like so easy. You just gotta apply. But that's cheap.
Each one week's network is very network a lot. You gotta talk to people, you gotta socialize, you gotta let them know what you wanna do, what are your dreams, where you want. You never know who you're talking. Like I've been working as a restaurant industry for so long, and you got the amount of people that I don't know who I'm talking to. You know, as a server, I didn't know who I was talking to. But those people are the ones who be helping the most. Without just being authentic, being yourself, and sharing your passion and your dreams, they ended up like they need to get where he go. Yourself out there.
We got time for one last question, comment, maybe to the T. Oh, that's right. I'll say no. Okay. Yeah, great.
Come on, buddy. Come on now.
Well, just real quick. Okay, no, honestly, just real quick. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for taking up space everywhere, whether it be the internet, here, and literally everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Gracias.
On that note, gracias, thank you. Sorry, I'm Armenian. One of the languages I don't of the many I do, but yeah, go, yes, please.
Snora kalutsin.
Wait, hold on, one more time.
Okay.
Snora kalutsin.
Wait, let's do with the snora first.
Snora
Snora,
kalutsin.
kalu, cielo. Snora, kalu,
Snora
cielo.
kalutsin.
Okay, we can do that, right? Snora, kalu, cielo. Yes. So thank you so much. And give yourself a round of applause for even being here. The next panel will be at 6 o'clock, and it's change makers in the industry. So stick around to that. When you get a group stop on before us, you battle this.